Yes, sir. Good rising, good people. Welcome to HBCU, the show, the podcast. I'm one of the co-hosts, Good rising, good people, Bobby K here, and my fellow co-host.
Ashamed to dream, you already know what it is. And our lovely editor, our honorary guest, hyping them up.
Why they not well? What's good,
There you
y'all?
go.
I was going to do the drum roll. You know what I'm saying? Had to big up the guy.
You
All
know,
right.
Respect.
tease me, dog.
You know what I'm saying? So we are here with a new topic. No prove it or lose it. Not this time. No confession this time. But we got a topic that we got to discuss. Hashim, do you want to, introduce us to the topic?
All right, so it's gonna be tokenism versus code switching. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what code switching is. Everybody knows what tokenism is. Tokenism is. Um, so we ain't gonna get into the definitions of it unless you want to, Bobby. Wale.
I think there might be some people who might not be familiar with it. So if you just want to give them a quick little summary of each.
Uh, Code switching is you change how you speak or your mannerisms when you're around different people or talking around certain races, and that could be for minorities. I don't think it really happens for white people. I guess it goes all the way around. I guess it.
Yeah,
Wait,
I
isn't
mean
that
it
code
happens
switching?
for white people, but it's
Huh?
not
Yeah,
it's
code
more
Wait,
switching.
isn't that code? You said code switching or tokenism?
Code
code
switching.
switching.
Oh, okay. All right, never mind.
It
Good.
happens with white people too because
Yeah, yeah.
you'll see like certain white people like especially if they have black friends or something like that and they'll talk different when they're around them compared to with their like white
Man,
friends, like they talk
I,
with more slang or something of the sort, you know what I'm saying?
I
Well,
always have a
it's
opinion on that, as in that depends on where they grew up too, as well.
Environmental.
Yeah,
Mm.
because if you grew up doing all that stuff, like that's all you know, and then obviously, like you come from New York, you might talk, you're not gonna talk all proper unless the environment causes it to. But we'll get into that later.
Hmm.
And tokenism is as how I see it as being like the only black person. This from my perspective, being the only minority or black person in a setting surrounding by the other majority. Like most of college in my field, I'm the only black person in the classroom
Mm.
and my job. Yeah.
Mm.
So those are the different. Is that what you guys see it as well? Before I move on.
The
for
coast.
me.
Oh, go ahead, Wale.
So my bad, Bobby. So
No, you
tokenism, it's the act of doing or involving someone or something to avoid criticism, like to satisfy the majority of a current time. So, for example, there's a more need for representation of certain people in a certain space, like workspace or media. And you have your token black character saying, "Hey, we got a token black character. See, we're not racist. We're not excluding people. Da da da. Look, like we're good. We're good. You're doing nothing bad. You're just a checkbox. That kind of thing. You're using it to appease a group of people without not necessarily having real meaning to it. You're just doing it just to do it. Code switching, I agree with Hashim though. You're just acting out a certain way in a group of people to match that tone or vibe and not stand out too much or give a get a bad impression or something.
Yeah, code switching is so unique to me because it's like you commonly hear, especially when you're a black person, like how you have to have like a white voice. If you black, you know what that means. Meaning like you kind of have to talk lighter. You have to talk softer. You have to talk with more vernacular, more vocabulary, all these like different things. And so basically you have to try to talk more intelligent because as a black person, if you just talk the way you are with your tone, your regular whatever, that doesn't work.
Mhm.
It's got to be, you know what I'm saying? We got to clean it up. We got to clean up how
In
you
certain spaces.
Huh?
in certain spaces.
In certain spaces, yeah, we got to clean up. You can't be yourself. You can't, you know what I'm saying, talk just how your tone is or how your inflection is. You have to soften it to be more appealing to corporate or to certain people who are lighter tone than you.
Yes.
It's very it's very derogatory and like dismissive of like your own like way of like identity. It's like, oh, change it into being this to conform to how you'll be able to get more opportunities, so to speak. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So I got a question of do you think it's necessary? Do you think there's times where it's necessary to code swap? Go ahead.
So I remember seeing a video, I think with Joe Budden, I think, and it was with Migos, and they said something basic and bougie. I'm like, the way they talking, I'm like, it's like they slurring their words. I don't know where they're from. Where are they from?
Atlanta.
ATL.
Atlanta. Oh, okay. All right. Y'all from
Hey,
Atlanta,
chill out
son.
on the Atlanta slander. No accent Atlanta slander.
Hold on. Nah. They gotta hear this shit because sometimes I don't know what the fuck they're saying, and I
Listen,
don't know
man,
if they're
it's that
slurring
southern
their
accent.
words, if they got a loose jaw, or some shit. Like I don't know. Like yo, articulate your damn words, bruh. I don't know what it is. My cousin was imitating them. He's like, oh nah, y'all New York say this, yeah, shit lit, right? Shit lit. Dead ass. Dead ass. You from the
It's
trenches.
culture.
Not
It's
like the trenches,
cultural
though.
though.
The trenches, though. You know, we about that lot. I'm like, bro, what are you saying? And he's imitating the shit. And when
Even
they
New
actually
Orleans.
speak,
New
nah,
Orleans too. They got their own little slang and they're, you know, what's up, babe?
New York people too. No.
This year, remember the Popeye commercial? They told me y'all got like a little fucking little chicken box. And they got there like $5 and some change.
Oh, New York people too.
What's happening, babe? How you doing, babe?
Nah, New York people from New York too be getting tight saying, "Oh, yo to the bread, boy, yo, yeah." It's like, guy, y'all gotta calm it down and use actual words. People say like 5,000 different damn times, or oh
They say
y'all
what?
weird, man. Shit, y'all weird, bro. Come on, bro. Like what's going on, bro? I'm like, bro, you said bro and bro like 5 different languages. Get it together, son. Like
But
I
but
don't.
but the thing you're talking about though is slang. Like, and that's something that we all do.
Fix it up. Fix it up.
No.
Put it in a damn.
But it's a difference though. What you're talking about is just slang that people are doing in like settings that's like not professional, even though we spoke about professionalism past this. But it's just it's a cultural thing too. Like you said, that people from Atlanta, they understand what they're saying. When they converse and when they're talking to each other, they know exactly what they're talking about. Us New Yorkers, when we say dead ass or we say you getting me tight, we saying all these different words and lingo, we know exactly what we're talking about. Someone who's from the outside perspective, who's not from there or who isn't involved in more urban environments, they're not going to understand. But that
it still bleeds into the lingo, though. You get what I'm saying? So when you
okay, go ahead.
What? It's like when you use slang, at some point it bleeds into your everyday speech. So if you don't know how to, I guess, tamper that in some ways, I guess the code switching kind of becomes obvious, or it's more forced, or kind of like it really can put you in a very uncomfortable situation, if that makes sense.
The question is, when they do that, does it change their like personality? Does it change their mannerism? Does it change how other people see them? No, I'm just saying to really define if they're actually code switching or not.
I'll give you an example. Bun B. I don't know if y'all familiar with Bun B. He's famous, legendary rapper. He's part of UGK. Rest in peace, Pimp C. From Texas, and he's got this new burger business. It's called Trill Burgers, right? It's been going viral, trending, all these different celebrities trying it, right? And on one of the promotions of it, he's kind of like talking about the opening of the first like establishment of it, so to speak, in Houston. And the way he was talking, you could see in the comments, I think it was on Instagram or Twitter, but you could see under the comments, they're like, wow, Bumby talking different. Because, you know, he usually talks with, certain swagger, certain boom, boom, boom. He was talking, though, while he's promoting it, and it just sounded so, like, you know what I'm saying? So formal. Like, he was dressed regular, but the way he was speaking was very, like, formal, very, like, lighter. It was like, you could tell he was trying to, like, code switch himself.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to come, he didn't, instead of him trying to come off more authentic and how he usually sounds, he was trying to like be more appealing to the masses, so to speak, to white people. Let's be honest. He was trying to appeal to more white people so that it could be more of a comforting, like, oh, come get these burgers because hey, I'm calm. You know what I'm saying? I'm presenting myself in a certain way. What Wale's talking about is more so of people just like, if people are from the hood or if people use slang all the time, yeah, it's going to be harder for them to be able to code switch. But it also applies to people who just talk regular or
Well,
just
yeah, of course.
yeah.
You know when. All right, I'm just saying. You know when a white person, right, who's not, take someone from Long Island, they try to act like they're from Brooklyn, especially a white person from Long Island. You're
Mhm.
gonna be able to tell that they're forcing it because
Mhm.
it's not where you're from. It's not your everyday culture. You're not about that lifestyle, as they would say, or as the recent meme says, you're not that guy. Okay, you're not that guy.
Yeah.
So there's a like you essentially are changing your personality and your tone. You're changing it. You're basically trying to reinvent yourself in that situation for whatever. It could be an aggressive situation. It could be a more professional situation. It's a very
It's phony
artificial.
though,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
a very
phony though.
artificial take on your character on how you usually act. I would say
But
there's a difference between I would say re I'm trying to find the word, remake yourself, so like after some time and experience maybe,
Mhm.
versus like just doing it on the dime because you just want to appear cool, or it's something you're not used to and you have to.
Hashim, what is your viewpoint on code switching and like how it applies to different people? I haven't heard. We
I
haven't.
mean, there's gonna be times we have to do it. Otherwise, we ain't gonna get jobs, or people won't feel safe
So
around.
you code switched before,
Yeah, interviews. Like, oh, sir, you can't be like, "Whoa, what's good?"
but
That's
that's
wrong.
not. But see, that's not code switching to me. I see. I'm looking at it from
But
a
that's
different perspective. I don't think
slang.
that's
I
code
know,
switching.
but slang is involved in the code switching era. You're not slouching. You're not being how you would be if you're just by yourself. You're not
Of
chilling,
course,
right? You're
right?
gonna be sitting out proper, right? Whatever. You're gonna be uh polite. You're not. It's not. I think with code switching is like, all right, how you are with your friends compared
Mm-hmm.
to how you are at like interviews slash coworkers, or certain events.
Okay.
Like if you went to a black and white attire
A
event.
black tie dinner.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta. I feel like you're just gonna try to act more sophisticated. You know, like I don't know what all these forks need to do, but
Yes.
I'm gonna try. Why you got three forks? With this little hors d'oeuvre. Come on now.
The little devil's egg that they try to
Yeah,
get.
man, like, come on. This is finger food.
Okay, but again, I get what you're saying, but my pushback to that would be like you're gonna act different in different environments anyway. I don't think that's necessarily code switching. Like the way you talk to me or Wale is not going to be the same way you talk to your mother. It's not going to be the same way you talk to a significant other. It's not going to be the same way you talk to a manager. You're going to talk to all these different people different ways. I don't think that's code switching though. I think that's more of like adapting to your environment. I think code switching is more of a negative thing in terms of like you are deliberately acting outside of yourself to try to conform to something. That to me is completely different from what you said, to where, oh, you're just like, you're tapping into a different version of yourself.
Code switching is multifaceted though, Bob. It's not black and white. It's code switching for various scenarios for whatever reason. Like you said, like Hashim sir, you said, you wouldn't talk to your friends the way you talk to your parents. That's code switching.
Is it code switching? I just feel like it's just you adapting.
You wouldn't use the same language. You wouldn't use at a certain point, depending on the family, but you wouldn't use the same language, the same, I'd say, tone and speech.
But you're also not having the same conversations as well. That's part of why you're not going to talk the same.
That depends.
You got the same conversation with your friends and then your parents, and it's gonna be completely said different ways.
I mean, yeah, of course. You're not going to be. I wouldn't think you're going to be using as much profanity with your parents.
That's code switching.
I mean, although Wale, you be a sailor though. I've seen you around your parents. You be a little sailor, brother, right?
He be a sailor. Bro.
He be a sailor a little bit, but that's their relationship. I'm just saying.
So it all depends. Depending on your relationship with people, there's going to be spaces where you have to change up how you speak because, for whatever reason, it could be for worse or for better, or just not appropriate at the time. You wouldn't talk like the way you talk to us, you wouldn't talk to your significant other's family because you're not, for whatever reason, cool with them yet at that level. Or you're trying to make a good impression. You're trying to warm yourself up. Like, because you can't just show who you are up front to everybody like off rip. You gotta trust them. They gotta trust you, and you gotta ease your way into it, depending on who they are.
See, so my personal negative connotation with code switching is specifically with us, in terms of how it's like becomes a requirement for us to code switch way more than other people in order for us to be able to get opportunities or to be seen seriously. Whereas a lot of other people can just kind of be themselves and it'll still could work out for them because of their credentials or because of just how they are and what their personality is. But for us, it's like a necessity. Like we have to code switch. We have to like almost whitewash ourselves in how we speak or how we act in order to be somewhat appealing to different crowds. And so that's my issue with it. I understand what you guys are saying in terms of like you're going to talk different to different people who are part of your life, but my issue is more so in a macro sense, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
What do you envision? What would you rather besides that?
What do you mean?
Because again, like in a perfect world, in a professional setting, exactly.
Ideally, right? Okay.
Yeah. Ideally. And like not say like it's something like the music industry, just like a corporate setting.
Okay.
What would you prefer?
I would prefer if people can be themselves. I'm not saying you should be using slang or you should be talking crazy.
But that's being yourself.
No, you don't have different versions of yourself.
But you're code switching. You got code switch yourself.
That's like think somebody sent you an email, right? They were like, as you can see here, Bobby's really being stupid here. And in your head, you're like, nah, this dude wilding, bro. But you're not gonna say it's like, in response to your previous email, it's not gonna it's not gonna be the same.
On the contrary,
yeah, like how you said earlier, like when we started the episode, you use different language. You're using different language, right? So I think that falls under code switching. Like what Wale is saying, I agree with Wale with the definition of code switching. As in, like, even changing the language you speak, or you have a different version, but that's still code switching.
So you guys think code switching
is
necessary and it should be a thing?
I would say it's necessary, but it should be for across the board. So I was gonna say I share your sentiment, Bobby, where we have to do more, whereas someone of another kind of group, you could look at someone and say, oh, they're less professional than me, yet they might have a high chance of getting a job.
That's what I'm saying.
I get that. So in that case, it should be an equal split across the board, like no special treatment, because this is a professional setting. I would hope you want someone who's professional. So if I'm doing X, Y, and Z to look professional, get my hair cut, suit, tie, dress pants, and all that, and this dude comes in with like maybe a t-shirt, a button-down shirt, and jeans, and yeah, bro, like I'm glad to be here, man. Like that, like just very unprofessional. Because and they get special privilege because of their skin color. That's a problem. That is a problem.
So y'all don't see how code switching can blend into like before in the previous episode we talked about like how like we like with our hair, like having longer hair or having dreads or having locks, or if you're a bigger fit woman, so to speak, and you have to they'll make you have to change your clothes or something, even though you're wearing the proper attire. Yeah, I don't see how code switching bleeds into those type of negative things.
Yeah,
of course.
So why are we co-signing it as if it's a good thing?
But we're not saying it's a good thing.
We're saying it's multifaceted. It has many different faces and situations. It's not just clear cut. Oh, this is bad because of this situation. No, you're using it in different situations. It's just that in the professional sense, it has a very bad connotation. It's a very bad situation because it's not fair in that sense.
Okay, so how about this though? If you are saying, oh, code switching is necessary, let's say in a work sense, right? If you are talking a certain way that is kind of different from how you usually do, you have to keep that up. So if you get, let's say, an opportunity to work for this position, or you get to do this type of project, or whatever the case may be, you have to keep up that act and keep up that code switch that you was doing throughout duration of however long that you're there or in that environment.
Well, yes.
Are you comfortable doing that?
Here's I'm glad you said it, because take a cop, for example, who have the responsibility of taking care of citizens. There's a lot of cops out here. There's a lot of cops out here who definitely act out at home the way they should not at work. And for whatever reason, they either don't get called out or they do get called out. But as a cop, you have a way you're supposed to act that's completely different from your outside life, because you have a duty to serve and protect. And there's no way someone gonna feel safe and secure if you acting like a nonchalant slob or some shit, or talking however on the job. This is not how it's gonna work. You have to have that, I wouldn't say mask, but you have to have that persona at that time frame.
It's expected. It's what society has. You have different environments where you're supposed to act different ways. You're not gonna be in the club dressed as Steve Urkel. More than likely, you're not going to be, right? You can if you want.
I can't rock the suspenders.
You can. You definitely can. You might go viral.
You have a car problem, right? Take a mechanic. You need your shit fixed, right?
Okay.
In a world where you're not code switching, I guess you want to act the way you are, like throughout the day, all throughout the day, no matter what. You have a mechanic who's, I don't know what his interests are. He's into football or politics. The man will just stop what he's doing every 5 seconds to look at his interests or hobbies. When he has to fix your car, he's not focused. He's not being professional.
That's not code switching. That's not code switching.
I got one for Wale's thing. Imagine you pull up mechanics like, yeah, I got something wrong with my car. It's like, the fuck were you doing to this car, bro? You didn't see this thing was like,
there you go, yeah,
knocking up the whole time?
Okay, that's good. Okay.
Like that's not what you try here.
But it doesn't have to be so extreme, though. That's what that's what
they really would do. Say you were their friend, and you come to me as like, damn, what are you doing? You didn't hear this thing like knocking all the way down the street like 10 miles ago?
Like just roasting you for 10 minutes straight. Roasting you for 10 minutes straight and not even bother to fix your car. Saying like, damn, bro, all right,
that's something that would happen, yeah.
I'll fix it for sure, but you're gonna hear the real opinion more times than not. In that, in the sense of like, you have to be professional. You're like, all right, this is what's wrong with your car, blah blah. I'm not gonna give you my opinion because that's not what you try to hear. But you probably
also the mechanic that you're talking about does not have a personal relationship with you compared to your homie. So me coming to you, Hashim, if you know how to fix cars, we have a personal relationship. That's completely different from if I come to you to your body shop and I don't know you. Of course,
Bro,
you shouldn't be talking to me in that type of fashion. That's
They're
what I'm
code
saying.
switching for their professional profession.
Yeah.
They're in their professional
You
persona.
don't, you don't have to be. I don't. You don't. If even if you're not my friend, I'll still be like, yo, what were you doing? What were you driving? Like, were you driving in the mud? What were you doing? It don't have to be a friend. Like, I won't go to. I probably wouldn't curse, but I'll be like, what were you doing? Like, seriously.
Like, sir, like, all right, so Bobby, sir,
Like,
what
look at
did you not realize what was going on? This is a problem. This could have been very bad, sir. Versus friend Wale. What the fuck were you thinking, bro? This is dangerous as hell. Are you dumb? Which Wale would you feel more comfortable professionally to fix your car?
The former, the first one.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
so
tokenism, by
look,
the way.
all
yeah,
right,
that's
so
what. Go ahead, Bobby.
we're gonna all right. So I want to bleed this into back to tokenism as well, because I see that it's a 2-on-1 situation for me that I have. It's becoming a prove it or lose it high key right now. This is crazy. And so tokenism is kind of similar, well, not similar, but it has the same effect as code switching, where it's like just acting, especially, right? You see it a lot with like actors and actresses where they will get hired for a role because they're black or because they're gay or because they fit a certain description of an identity that is typically and historically marginalized, but they're not picking the person because of their attributes, but they're picking them because of it's a good PR move.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
what are y'all thoughts on that? Since
I fucking hate it.
so you hate that, but you co-sign code switching.
Nobody co-signing it, bro.
Co-signing you. Stop saying that shit, bro.
But y'all don't. But what I'm saying is they work in conjunction with each other. You can't say, "Oh, I have an issue with tokenism and people hiring people solely because it's a PR move," but then say, "Yeah, well,
Did you not hear what I
have to
said?
code
Did you not hear what I said about code switching being unfair in certain situations professionally? You have
Yes,
to do all this work. You have to do all this work to put on an act so you can get hired. But then, meanwhile, Bob over here, who looks like
whoa, use a different name. Don't use my name, sir. Use a different
Bob.
name.
You said Bob, not
Your
Bobby.
name is Bobby.
That's still part of my name, brother.
Bob?
Use a different name.
Kevin or Tom is like it just doesn't fit the part. It does not fit the part. That's unfair as fuck. That's not cool. No one's co-signing. First of all, you can't like I said, it's multifaceted, bro. It's not black and white. Co-switching is multifaceted. God damn it. I don't keep saying.
Did you just do like a jujitsu?
Shut up. That's not. Shut up. Tokenism. Tokenism is the act of just taking someone. Like so. Okay. So, say you have. Let me think. I don't want to say two black people, like, whatever reason. Not even that. Back to the whole acting. Let's talk about the acting. Remember the casting call she was talking about?
Yes.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You get a
I don't know
list
why you're
of
talking to me. Talk to
requirements.
Hashim.
I know.
Oh.
I see. I'm looking at you. The list of requirements of what established character is supposed to be. Nah. See, right now, this group of people is marginalized and they're popular. We got to look good in the eyes of the public. So instead of being like faithful to this casting and doing the work, let's just snatch up this person because they're good enough, but they're black or Asian or something. Let's just do it.
Just so we can get more revenue because more people are going to be more interested because, oh, they got this person in the lead role.
Exactly.
Token.
That is also not cool because you're appeasing to people for the most shallowest reasons. And I see through a lot of y'all. I see it. Y'all motherfuckers don't see it. I see it. Trust me,
brother,
I
back
see
up from the camera, sir.
It got me tight. But
what do you see? Open your third eye. What you see?
I see a lot of bullshit, a lot of foolish, deviant behavior, and I do not want it. Anyway, so
it is a sickness.
So now that we say that, Bobby, my question for you is, tokenism
Wait,
is.
well, we gotta hear from Machine though too.
Oh, my fault.
Ask the question, Marlon, and then I'll jump in. Cause I don't really got much to say about tokenism. Really, not. You know.
It's so tokenism is taking advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how does that tie in the professional sense for the way you're talking about code switching, where a black person has to do all this stuff, but they lose it out to a white person who's not as professional, or they didn't do the work to get ready for the job? How's that? How are they connecting
They
there?
work
Like,
together because you're looking at it from if the black person loses out on the position. I'm saying
Yes.
what if that black person individually gets that position because of their ability to code switch and to whitewash themselves in that setting, they are still a token.
Oh
They are
no! In that case, they're not looking at. I would say in that case, they're not looking at them despite all their work. They're just saying, "Oh, they're black. Take them." The PR move right there.
no,
I
but
don't
it's
know.
still no, but they are still a token because they're still representing the company. So they
No, I
want
know that. I'm saying they're not. To me, tokenism is very surface level facing. All right, the guy's black. He's applying. This is where we've been lacking in a certain group of people. Take him.
not
Here's a token.
necessarily, not necessarily. You know how I know this? Not necessarily. You know how I know this?
Right.
Because let's look at only black president, right? Barack Obama, right? I guarantee you, if it was a different black person who presented themselves in a more urban way, so to speak, or if they didn't talk the way that he did, because let's be honest, he talked and presented himself in a way that was very safe. That's
Yeah.
why
That's
a lot of white people and a lot of people who aren't black was comfortable around them because he talked very safe, he talked very proper. If you put a different black person in there who isn't worried about all that shit, and they have there's not even slang, but they have a certain accent, or they talk in a way that is we're more used to, they wouldn't have gotten in that position. That's a token. He is safe. He is a black person, yes, but he is a black person that appeals to the
He's
masses.
saying he's doing enough to be selected.
Right. But he's still a token, though, because if it was another different black person who doesn't conform in that way, they're not getting in that position.
But you have to be mindful of the position, though. You're talking about the president of the United States.
I'm just using the biggest example possible. We can scale it down. We can scale it down to a manager. We can scale it down to.
But then again, those roles have a level of responsibility, and you gotta come correct a certain way to give faith that yes, you can handle this job.
Of course, but there's a degree to that, though. It doesn't have to be to the point where you're acting outside of who you are. That's the difference between adapting and completely changing who you are. Hashim, you look like you want to say something really bad.
Nah, it's not changing who you are, because it's just you doing it so you could perform your job, and people won't be like, oh, this guy, what's up with this guy?
You know what's crazy though? Is the fact that you just said you don't have much to say about tokenism, but you also said when it came to your major and your classes, when it came to your job itself, well, the previous or current, you said you were the only black person there. So wouldn't tokenism apply to you?
For school, they didn't choose to have me as like the only person in this engineering field in most of my classes, only black person.
Not necessarily they chose you per se, but if the acceptance is not that many black people in the major,
my field in general is not a lot of black people. It's not a lot of girls. It's not a lot of women.
Right.
So it's gonna happen regardless. No matter most fields. If I went to, I don't know, what's a field that not a lot of black people do.
I got a situation for you. So I remember my boss was saying,
for me or us?
Both of you. And Hashim, you're the inspiration for this. So my boss was telling me, or our team at some point, that the the next person we get, if he could really fight for it, needs to be a female.
Oh, that's
because PR moves and all that stuff. But so he had intentions of getting another girl on or our first girl on the team. He started to do the work though, go through resumes and see if they're an actual valid candidate. But I guess in Bobby's case, they needed that token. So that person needed to still be very competent or seem competent in the role, but also had to be a girl. They had to satisfy all those requirements to be all right. Boom, you're taken. Good.
So
the opportunity presented itself, but they weren't actively. They didn't like.
It wasn't genuine.
No, it was genuine because
she hits the qualifications.
Yes, exactly. And like in Hashim's case, he just happened to be the only black person to apply for the role because he did the work. He just happens to be there. He did all the requirements. He has the knowledge and everything.
Wait. You think he was the only black person that applied for STEM?
I'm him. Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Yes, I am. Yes, I was.
First off, we don't use that slang here. That
has him.
That him is no. Fuck no. All right.
Has him.
Fuck no. Throw that shit in the trash.
I'll be on the right page.
Throw that shit in the trash. Who's him? The devil from Powerpuff Girls?
Say it! This is a villain so evil, so sinister, so horribly vile, that even the utterance of his name strikes fear into the hearts of men. The only safe way to refer to this King of Darkness is simply him.
I'm gonna post that actually. Every time y'all, that's sidebar. Every time you motherfuckers say that dumb shit, I think of that devil from Powerpuff Girls. I'm him. Yes, that fruity ass little devil from Powerpuff Girls. That's what y'all talking about. I'm saying that shit. It's not cool. It doesn't sound smart. You sound dumb.
Just turned up real quick.
Good.
You good?
Fuck up. Anyways, go ahead.
But like it could. I met every qualification.
No, it's not disrespecting your qualifications. I'm just saying. My point is that I guarantee you wasn't the only black person or the only black male that applied for that program, but you were the one that was there. You were the one that was accepted.
But there could have been more. It's not that I was the only black person that applied because since the population in general, there's just more white people, right? They're the majority. So there are going to be more people applying for that job that are white. They're going to have more of a chance to get the job, regardless.
Of course, you saying, if you said it was only a few of us out of like a group of 40 or something, okay. You said you were the only one in your class that was black.
In some classes, but there's only like some classes. There's only one girl in there. A lot of classes.
But that applies to. But what I'm saying is, we're applying it to just black people because that's what applies to us. Yeah. But it can apply to other groups too. It can apply to women too. They are used as tokens as well. They're like Wale literally just said on his team there is only men. It is a meat party. But they're still trying to apply.
He didn't say that.
One woman.
No. They just wanted more, on the team.
They're going to hire one woman for his entire. How many people's on your team, Wale?
Like
how many? It's 5 men. They're going to get one woman to be on the team.
But mind you, there was like at some point because he asked HR, are there any girls that are applying for this role? And they said, oh, let me see. Because it was mostly men, because the role doesn't say you gotta be a man to apply. It just happens all applications each time was guys. And then some ray of light, a girl happened to apply. It's like, all right, we'll interview her, see if she qualifies. If not, great. If not, if she doesn't, damn, we gotta get another guy, and the search for another girl continues.
My issue is what everything I'm saying is. I get what y'all are saying, right? Oh, well, it depends on who applies. It depends on the population. The majority, of course, if the majority is white people, the majority is men, they're going to be the ones who get the positions. My problem is, why is that even the case? That is what I'm saying. And that is how tokenism works. They make you think, oh, well, if none of these people are applying, or if none of these people are here or available, then they can't get in there. So let's
think
just
of the time. Think of the time. So, in tech industry example, I noticed there's complaints about why is the tech field so male dominated, blah blah blah, or why is the gaming space male dominated, blah blah blah. Answer that question first, and then you can talk, because it has to be a reason why for the longest time video games was a male dominated space, because for the longest time it was mostly seen as a guy's thing, and at the end, even lower level, you were a nerd if you like games. It just kept spiraling and all over and over.
But
and
guess
as
what?
time went on, you see it become more open. Now we're seeing more girls in this space, in the gaming space or tech space. For whatever reason, maybe the interest is there, maybe it's less skewed, maybe the misconceptions of the field has been brought to light and fixed, and now has a better outlook. So it's more welcoming to people. Who knows? It's whatever's popular, whatever's the end thing.
Say that last part again. Say that last part again. Because it's more what?
Whatever is the end thing to, huh?
You said it was more welcoming to you said it was more welcoming to people, right? That's what you just said? That was the last part?
Yes, it is more welcoming in the eyes of the public.
So maybe
whatever's popular to bitch about, that's what it is.
Whatever is it bitching, or is it legitimate
bitching,
criticism?
Yes.
It's not legitimate. It's not a legitimate, right?
Let me stop. To a point, it's criticism, but at the same point, it's bitching, because if you have a problem with it, why don't you, I don't know, do something about it, instead of trying to fabricate the scenario where you need to be appeased to. Like, it has to be all about you now. Oh, why isn't it about us? Why don't we see it? You didn't ask. This space wasn't for you before. It didn't have your interest before, right? What's the problem? Where's all this coming from now?
If it's a male,
I'm not saying that's 100% the case, but that could be a factor.
But that doesn't make sense, because if you said video games, right?
Yes,
maybe part of the reason that you didn't see a lot of women in video games until recently is because they wasn't welcomed in video games. Even now, you see.
No. Wait. That's one factor. I'm saying, because video games years ago, it's a very skewed practice. It's because be seen as unhealthy. You could be seen easily as a nerd. It wasn't as inclusive as it is now. It's not just, oh, you're a girl, you can't game. Yes, that's a possibility too, because that's the same thing for sports. It's like, oh, you're a girl, you can't play sports. That kind of thing. There's a lot of factors as to why those areas of interest were skewed. It wasn't as inclusive for whatever reason. That's what I'm saying. There's things to think about. That's the reason why there's a lot of tokenism in these fields. Whatever's popular to bitch about or critique, that's what's going to be in the eyes of the public or in the line of sight for possible tokenism.
Why do you keep saying bitching about as if it's not legitimate? Like, you keep saying.
I said criticizing and or bitching.
But you're saying bitching to dismiss. I'm sorry, Hashim. You're saying bitching about and it's dismissing the legitimate issues with the fact that so many different spaces is only exclusive to certain groups of people and doesn't allow.
I say that because some of these spaces legitimately were not harming anyone. I'm looking at video games, was not a harming practice, and people were scrutinized for being a part of this practice for whatever reason. I myself or Nigel, we would be like, oh, you're a nerd, this, that, third. Well, we just want to chill and play our fucking games.
Of course, and that was wrong that they categorized you guys.
Yes,
I would say this.
Go ahead, Hashim. Go ahead.
I think it starts off young, as in like kids. Excuse me, as in kids. Boys playing with their toys, games, girls doing tea parties, blah blah. Right. So, and that's just one example. You can use even for jobs. Girls aren't really pushed to do more of the science type jobs. They're not encouraged. Just like what Bobby's saying, it's something that they're not. And this is the only thing I'm agreeing with Bobby. It's something that they're not welcome to. It's not like, oh yeah, come do this. We want you to do this. It's like, you could do this if you want. This is an option, but we're not going to push you to do this. We're not going to encourage you to play video games, because that's not what everybody else. That's not what the rest of your friends are doing, right? They're out doing They're playing. I don't know.
They're doing women things.
Yeah, they're working on like makeup. This is such like a bad example, but whatever girls do when they're younger.
Mm-hmm.
You
think no, y'all laughing, but y'all see how
contrary
fucked up this sounds? Like,
huh?
Yes,
No, that's what I
it's
said. Contrary to
facts,
like
though.
playing
It
video
is what it
games.
is.
What guys usually do, they're playing video games. They're just messing around. But it's a lot of video games.
Wrestling.
Most people, video games, they're on computer, they're programming, they're doing a lot of nerd stuff. And
Watching
then
wrestling.
And then sports. Yeah, wrestling. You know? But I think it really starts off young. So if you're not welcome, imagine if minorities are welcome into space, and this is why we have like a lot of clubs that encourage them into like a science space or into building whatever spaces majority white people are in, right? If they're encouraged to do that from a young age, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, like I grew up with so many people that look like me doing this type of work, and that's all I know. So it's really a shock. Or as I'm growing up, I'm seeing that like I'm the only Black person or minority in certain classes. It's weird because, you know, I thought there's a lot of us, but that's why there's also specified groups for people in certain fields, you know, and that's why we tend to gravitate to each other, whether it be in gaming, whether it be in tech, any environment where you're the only two people of a minority, you're probably like, oh, what's good, you know?
And Bobby, the reason why I said bitching, the spaces I talk about, like Hashim said, for the most part, there are spaces where they would, for whatever reason, discriminate against certain group of people. But I say, in my case, I'm talking about the spaces where it's like, oh, computer science, anyone could feel free to apply. You're interested? Come on. Even the program's like, yo, we need more people we need more money for the funding for the program. You're white, Black, male, female, in between. Come. We want you. We want you. Come. That's for opening spaces. When you have people saying, oh, how can this lack of representation? I don't know. How about you ask your people who, when this space is open to you, you have the option. We're not talking about 50 years ago when walking to a bar, you could not be a certain color. Nah. How come, like, that's the case where that's criticized. Like, why can't I walk into this space? Because of my skin?
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing wrong to make your establishment worse for where? Where you don't even know me. But in the case of tech, but no one's scrutinizing you. Just come. If anything, the scrutinizing is the result of lack of involvement. Saying, oh yeah, women don't do this because before not a lot of them applied. No one's stopping them, but for the longest time, it wasn't seen as a women thing to do. Or if we did, you were a dime a dozen. It was seen as a special case. Like, oh my God, you feel me?
I agree with a lot of what you said. I agree with everything what you said. Only thing I will push back on what you said is just like, it's not always as simple as just, oh, well, if you got a problem with it, you do something about it yourself. Like, everyone doesn't have the power or the dynamic to just change something of that nature. So that's why they, along with other people, seek issue with it. It doesn't happen automatically just from one person having a thing if they don't have the ability to actually change it by themselves. You get what I'm saying? It's not that simple.
Don't change it by yourself then.
Huh?
Don't change it by yourself then. You were not brought into this world by yourself. You gotta get voices and groups of people. You gotta gather, a voice.
But then don't say it's bitching then, because that's, if they do that, then you can't say it's bitching, because they're trying to figure out solutions that benefits people.
No. I said if you're complaining about a lack of representation and not doing shit about it when no one was stopping you, that's different. That's different from you voicing your concerns, you gathering not a protest, but like, I don't know, some group to show involvement or interest. That is different from just bitching and doing nothing, just to say something on Twitter.
I agree with that.
That's what I'm saying.
All I'm saying is that it's easier said than done when it comes to doing that type of thing. You think organizing groups, organizing protests, organizing strikes, we've seen the writers' strike, right? Look at the writers and actors strike. You think that was some easy shit to do?
Nothing worth
put
in
in
this life is easy, though. Nothing that is worth in this
but
life is easy.
but you're not. I agree with what your sentiment is, but what you're not understanding from my perspective, what I'm saying is that it's not always easy to do to just say, oh well, hey, if you want this to change, you got to do something about it. You can try to do that, but you can also lose your job. You can also lose your livelihood. It's not as simple as just just make it happen. Like it is extreme risk involved in that. And the problem is the risk for certain people is way higher than other people. And that is my issue with tokenism. That is my issue with all these different little mannerism things that certain people have to do compared to others. We can't act like the playing field is even. It's not. And that's not
we know that for years, Bobby.
okay.
It's been like that for decades.
I know, and that's still but my thing is that's still an issue. That's and tokenism and code switching is a part of those issues. That's all I'm trying to acknowledge and put out there. I understand what both of y'all sentiments are, but let's also not act like it's an evil playing field with what we're talking about. It's not.
Hashim, did you say it was the equal playing field? Because I don't remember saying it was equal playing field.
I ain't never said that in my life.
And my question for you, Bobby, is when you were talking about people at risk, what scenario are you talking about now? Because now I'm really confused about
because you mentioned people protesting or going on strike or doing these different things to have more inclusivity for certain spaces or people being more welcome in certain spaces. There is risk involved in that. For example, the writer's strike or the actor's strike. The people who are on the picket line, who are holding these signs, who are saying, we want to be paid more. We want less of this and more of this. They're at risk of not being able to go back into those spaces they was in before for the cause. It's still a risk for them. Just because it's a large group of them, it's still a risk. Because most of those people who are on those picket lines can still never get hired again for any of the positions that they did before.
Yes, I get that. And I'm saying to you is that that's the risk they're willing to take. How badly do you want it? That's what it comes down to. How badly do you want it? How much work are you willing to put in, the risk, and do you have a safety cushion backup plan? You got to think about these things before you make these moves, is what I'm saying.
I understand. Again, I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying that is the easier thing said than done. Everyone can't take those risks. Everyone can't take those risks. That doesn't mean they shouldn't feel the way they do.
Guys, I'm on here. Final thoughts. just because I feel like we ain't making a lot of progress. We each have our sides. But final thoughts on both.
Generalize Hashim here. I feel bad. My fault, Hashim.
Code swapping, as well as tokenism. I go first.
I will say this again. My issue mainly, as I've stated, is with code switching, is the fact that it's disproportionately more prevalent for people who look like us, who are Black, or people who fit a certain description that have to do it on a whole different level of scale compared to other people. I'm not saying that other people don't do it. I'm just saying it is very disproportionate. And I think people should be getting opportunities based on who they are and how they are compared to what they can do or represent, so to speak. And same thing with tokenism is very disingenuous, and it's just something that people should be mindful of on if you are being put in this place because of what you're capable of and how you are, or because they have to fill a quota. So
yes, piggybacking off of what Bobby said, tokenism, I would say, just be confident that you are skilled enough to get that position, or wherever you're at, and you might have to prove it, which kind of sucks because everybody else doesn't have to prove it, because they just automatically assume like they should with you. Code switching, sometimes it's necessary because otherwise they'd be like, nah, this dude is really, he doesn't fit our culture.
Culture. Oh, that was our favorite word last episode. Culture.
Oh, but there are certain environments that you're going to, like how Bobby said, you're gonna have different versions of yourself. You're not, but you gotta know when you gotta do that. You can't be in the club asking, school questions. It doesn't mesh.
Y'all never been to the club and asked for a calculus question or nothing? Yeah.
While if I
Lavin?
I said follow thoughts because he's asking wild questions.
Yeah. I think code switching is necessary. Again, there's a point where it's a bad connotation to it, and people need to be held accountable, and things need to be more equal and fair. Tokenism, don't do it. Don't do it. That's it. Don't do it.
Who don't do it? Like, don't be a token, or don't choose
The practice. Stop the tokenism practice. Just don't do it. Okay, stop being disingenuous and all that stuff.
The thing is, I'm sorry. The thing is, you just don't know if it's tokenism or it's just like you're a very qualified person. I know you could do the job. You just so happen to be the only black.
You know how you know it's tokenism? When you're the only black person there.
My God.
There.
And if you happen to be the only black person applied, Bobby, maybe
But guys, I'm talking to the audience. Thank you guys for watching.
Have fun, Hashim.
Make sure you smash the like button, share with your friends and family. That's crazy. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, and Spotify as well. If you might be a guest, make sure you reach out to us. We're always answering messages on Instagram. And thank you guys for watching. Peace.